Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to head back to the 70s for a horror film. But before we get into it, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, as always, a shameless plug for my TeePublic and my Zazzle store. If you want any Halloween merch, go over and check out our designs. Plus, you can get channel merch over there as well. I'll leave a link for both of those in the description box below. And today we're going to Bizarro territory. We're going to talk about the original Don Coscarelli written and directed Phantasm. Phantasm came out March 28th of 1979. It's rated R, hour and 29 minutes long, had a budget of $300,000, and upon release through Avco Embassy, it made $11.9 million. So this was a nice size hit considering the budget involved. And in this film, we got Michael Baldwin as Mike. We got Bill Thornberry as Jody, his older brother. The great Reggie Bannister as Reggie, the ice cream guy, and a good friend of the family. And Angus Scrim as the tall man, God rest his soul. Now, on Monday night, this past Monday night, I was fortunate enough to go see this on the big screen at the Alamo Draft House in Raleigh, North Carolina. I got to go with my good buddy, Dale_A from the Bat and Spider podcast. We also met up with our good friend Phil from the Spook House podcast. So do me a favor, go over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and in Phil's case, for the Spook House podcast, YouTube as well. I'll leave a link down below for his YouTube channel, and I'll leave a link for Bat and Spider's Instagram page. Go over and subscribe to Bat and Spider. Chuck and Dale do a great podcast, drops every Thursday, and go over and give Phil and Doug some love as well, and subscribe to their podcast and their YouTube channel. I greatly would appreciate that. Now, Phantasm opens up with a funeral. And well, we see this guy get killed in the cemetery. In this town, in this movie, a lot of people like to go to the cemetery and have sex. For whatever reason, that's the place to go if you're going to get it on. And it happens a few times in this movie. I guess that was just a spot of choice, not going parking, but we're going to have sex in the cemetery amongst dead people. Whatever, to each their own. Anyway, Jody and Reggie go to this funeral, and Jody sees the tall man, doesn't know that he's evil at the time, and now Mike starts seeing some weird things. And as it goes on, he's being pursued by the tall man and these little dwarves that the tall man is creating, because the tall man, we find out, is from a different, well, we don't find out so much in this film, but in later films, if you're a Phantasm fan, we find out from the tall man is from a different dimension. He's a demon from a different dimension. And before we know it, Mike and Jody hatch a plan to kill the tall man. They think they succeeded, and then Mike wakes up and finds out that Jody's been dead in a car accident, and Reggie's going to take care of him. And we get that stinger where the tall man grabs Mike at the end, and that's the end of the original Phantasm. What's like about this film? Well, considering the budget and what Don Coscarelli had to go through to make this film. Now, I'm going to paint a picture before I get into the likes. Don Coscarelli would have to pick up the camera equipment. He rented the camera equipment all through production. So he'd pick it up on a Friday, shoot all weekend, and return the camera equipment on Monday. And the next weekend, they would do it all over again. It took almost a year to get this film in the can. This is truly a low-budget independent movie. That took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears by Don Coscarelli and his family. His mom did wardrobe and other things on the movie. His dad helped out. His parents were extras in the film. So were Reggie Bannister's parents were extras in the film. This was definitely a handmade film. But at the end of the day, even though it's low budget, I think some of the acting's pretty good. Some of it comes off a little hokey. It's a low budget 70s film, and a lot of these people that were in this film weren't professional actors. A lot of them were first timers, or they've done little things. This is like their first big break. Some of the effects come off really great, considering, again, the budget and the time in which this movie was made. Those spheres come off great, and those metal spheres cost $1,100 to be made. And they got that effect by having a baseball pitcher throw them down a hallway. And the way Don shot it would lead you to believe they were flying, but really they were being thrown by a baseball pitcher. And the walls in the mausoleum were just plywood with that sticky, tacky board that looks like marble. That's how that was made. But they did have the run of a funeral home one night that they got to utilize, and they shot a bunch of footage inside an actual funeral home. Angus Scrim is great as the tall man. He's creepy. He does what a horror villain should do. He's intriguing. Want to learn more about him, which we would learn as the series went on if you're a fan of this franchise. there's a great explosion in this film, and at the end of the day, this is a very fun, bizarre, dreamlike film. And Don Coscarelli definitely directs the movie very well, considering the low budget. And even the weirdness is not enough to keep you from enjoying this film. Now, does the movie hold up 100% under today's scrutiny, especially on the big screen? It was the remastered version by Bad Robot that Don did at their studios. No, some of the effects don't hold up quite as well. A lot of the effects do still work. Some of the effects don't. It's a little goofier in spots than I remember. It's been about 5-6 years since I actually watched this film. I do own it on digital, and I have the old DVD special edition that was released. But at the end of the day, this is still a very kick-ass, bizarre horror film. Don Coscarelli went through a lot of struggles to get this in the can, and it does hold up extremely well. I'm a big fan of Phantasm 2 as well, which was Don Coscarelli got a bigger budget. He worked through Universal, and he recasted the Mike character, unfortunately. But I still like the second one a lot as well. The dwarves in this film were played by children, just dressed up. So that's how they pulled those off. It was just children running around dressed up with robes and stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm so glad I got to see this on the big screen. I never got a chance to ever see this on the big screen, so I love that we actually got to go and hang out and see this on the big screen. So if you get a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. It's a great horror film. It's a classic from the 70s. And Don Coscarelli is always one of those filmmakers who I feel is extremely underrated. And it's a shame he never did bigger movies, but he never got along with studios, so he always tried to keep it more independent over the years. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would give the original Phantasm a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for the original Phantasm. What would you rate this film? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. That's it for this one. I'll be back soon with another one. Until next time, bye.